who we get to show up, so it would be a variety.
I just want to make sure that again, and that's a step in the right direction, that anything that we hold, that we don't rush it and make sure that it is thorough, because again, we want to make sure that we have something where we're going to get a good overall perception as far as the community and where we stand and where we go. I mean, we do. We have a lot of other things to worry about as far as academics and performance to get kids to graduate. And that's really our overall goal. But within that, there are the life lessons that we're trying to teach on a day-to-day basis. So I also get that. So we'll find some balance in looking at that final station. So I would say at this point, let's table the conversation.
Quick question for Tony.
Sure.
Tony, if they sign the student dress code as presented right now and we delete items from it, would we have to get everybody to go back and re-sign?
Sure, you're changing the rules.
Even if you're reducing the regulation or the rules, you're still changing it? Okay.
If needed, we can just table for this year.
And the reality is that's why it's here, is because y'all represent the community and you're charged with that. And so, ultimately the decision is that needs to stay. That's why we're having this conversation. It stays, and then maybe next year we put a committee together. Just for the sake of timeliness, we're hitting some hard timelines as far as we need to get ready for school right now. So it sounds like it's probably best to leave it as it is, and next year start moving forward and really revisiting it with more community input.
I would like to see a community input on a whole discipline issue. I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing kids just walking around thinking they own the joint, getting away with it. If there's a way, maybe that's a goal for this coming school year, is finding ways to empower your teachers to stand up to the kids, really set some hard rules. I don't see what you see every day, but I know I come across enough kids to know that if they're not getting the discipline, the rules at home, they need to get them from somewhere. Maybe we can come up with some ways to improve that part of our schools. So not only are you gonna get rid of the 61 occurrences in 1,300 minutes for that, but how do we get rid of another 1,000 minutes for some other issue? Look at your big issues that you're having to constantly.
The only thing with a committee on that, the kids that come in and act that way is because that's how they're taught at home.
Yeah, but come up
And if
with,
their parents come to the meeting, they want their kids.
No, I understand that, but come up with some training or something to get the teachers to be able to stand up to them.
And I just want to say one thing. I appreciate y'all's desire to improve instruction. That's noble and good. And keep looking for ways to improve instruction time. And so even though the conversation here maybe has been more negative, there's concerns on other areas, but I appreciate the intent behind what you were suggesting to try to improve instruction.
And I also, Mr. Barnett, I also wanted to also commend our principals, because this is a topic that it didn't start yesterday as far as the conversation. This is a conversation that started pretty early on last year and even a little bit before that. But again, it's being able to have the ability to come forward, have a conversation, and as a governing body, to have that open dialogue and with respect, of course. But also being able to respect, the desires of our community, and you do serve as representative. So my recommendation at this point would be to let's just table the conversation, and then let us get together and talk about what the committee may look like. And I would say that we put it under a larger umbrella, whether it be a discipline focus or just a bigger umbrella, and that could be one of the topics within it, and then start getting the feel of there and see where we go from there at that point. And we can give you an update in the near future. I don't know if I want to, I know, and I want to commend Ms. Martin, because she said, she wants to get on it as early as next week. I just want to make sure we don't rush it, we make sure that it's a thorough process. But I do want to commend these two administrators, because they go above and beyond everything they do to support our kids and their safety at the campus, but also just the overall what they do to support our students as a whole. Thank you. Trustees, I'd like for you to consider and take possible action on the board calendar as presented. I think Ms. Watson included that within your packets. There is one area that we want to review, and that's where there's an option. If you look at January, it's either January the 8th, or if you wanted to look at our meeting on January the 22nd, just based on the holiday coming back.
And then the 15th is a holiday as well, is it not? It's Martin Luther King Day? Is that why it's skipped?
And that's if we sustain it, because that should be a Monday, correct? So it depends if the board wants to look at a different day during that week, instead of that Monday.
It's on 2 weeks later.
The January 8th time, curiosity there, that's what we had the past couple of years, right? We haven't moved it.
It's always within that ballpark.
Yes.
Give or take a day, just depends on where it lands.
I say the 8th.
I'd rather keep it the 8th.
And Monday still working good for everybody here?
Monday works great.
I move that we approve the school board meeting calendar as presented using January 8th, 2018 as the one questionable thing. Second.
I have a motion made by Mr. Barnett, second by Mr. Hurley, to approve the board meeting calendar for the 2017-18 school year with using January the 8th, 2018 for the date of that month. Any other questions?
I have one question, in case I'm not making a motion. Even though we post this, we can still change the dates
Yes.
each other, right?
Yes.
If you need to, you could get a forum or something came up.
All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Consider take possible action on the one-time retention stipend for 2017-18 school year. Dr. Moreno?
Trustees, this is an action item that we bring to you yearly that the board has reviewed and looked at. We do have language that we've had from our attorneys from the past couple of years, and the only things we look at is the change of dates. What I'd like to do is again, ask you to consider take possible action on concerning one-time employee retention stipend. And this is really going back to show the appreciation for our employees, but also the retention of our employees. What I'd like to do at this point is read to you the suggested motion language. At that point, give you a little bit more detail, and then at that point, we can open up for discussion. So, since many of the employees of the Vernia Independent School District have frequently gone above and beyond what has been required of them in order to carry out their employment duties for the district, and because it is important to the district to retain such employees, I move that the district pay a one-time retention stipend payment to all employees who are employed with the district as of September 15, 2017, and remain continuously employed with the district through December 15, 2017, in the amount of no more than $250 to each full-time employee and no more than $125 to each part-time employee. I further move that this one-time retention stipend be expressly contingent upon any subject to a determination by the superintendent that there are sufficient funds available at the time to make the payment in the amount stated above or in some lesser amount, dependent upon the financial circumstances of the district at the time the retention stipends are to be paid. Finally, I also move that any employees who start with work subsequent to September 15, 2017 shall not be eligible for the payment, and that the superintendent be directed to issue a memorandum to all employees informing them of the contingent retention stipend as stated above. And again, trustees, I can't make the formal motion, so that's why I'm just reading it out for the content piece, but that'll give you a little bit more information that you can have a discussion on, and then at that point, I'll ask whatever your decision is based on your.
And we have budgeted for this in our annual budget?
Yes, sir.
If I recall correctly, it's been $250 and $125 for the past several years. We haven't changed that value. That's correct.
Been consistent even when I was working many years.
So if we want to increase this, can we do that? Is there any, well, that's what I'm asking.
Good, if we've got to make it fit the budget.
Yeah. Because by increasing it, like, again, the contingency is there, is that if money exists to allow for this, right? So if we've had savings in our budget, I was just thinking, couldn't we go up to like 300, 150? You know, at least some type of increase or?
Sure, we'd have to go back to fund balance, so, or at the end of the year, we go back and see if, you know, we need to come back to fund balance and pull that money forward in those actual budgets from the campuses throughout the year, we can just pull, you know, accordingly. So, I mean, that's a surplus to you guys right now, it's at 250, if you do the 300. Right now, we have, there's about 425 employees, total employees, and there's about 4 part-time employees. And so, if they get paid out of, like, child nutrition, out of federal funds, they use that pot of money to pay for that incentive. But for the most part, it is their fund that pays for the local fee, the incentive. So we use it.
Could we see how things are going and stick with 250, 25 for, that appears to be for the fall semester?
Yes.
And then do something else in the spring semester?
Now, that's for the year.
Or the?
It's a one-time.
It's a one-time, but what I'm saying is be able to sit there and go, okay, well, let's do a second one or.
I think it would almost be better to motion for the higher amount now and make that determination.
Well, in all fairness too, with Greg Abbott's new $1,000 pay raise that might be
Unfunded.
mandatory, but there's no funding tied to that. That would possibly come out of fund balance, right?
Yes, sir.
And at $1,000 a teacher, what are you looking at there?
Well, I mean, right now, I know we did a 2% increase, but, you know.
That would be on top of the
That would be on
2%.
top of that, yes, sir.
So what is our total teacher count coming for the upcoming year?
425. That's
No, that's employees.
That's
That's
teachers,
employees.
that's staff. Teachers is about 230.
So we're looking at close to $230,000 right there that comes out of fund balance, plus this, plus your 2%. So I would suggest to keep it where it is.
Why do we have to move in July to decide this?
Normally, I think it's more for the planning stage. I mean, if it's something that, you know, you want us to look at some numbers, I think it's.
It's already budgeted, that was just the way it's been.
That's the big reason, the budget, you believe the budget, and then also now to plan, and that's part of what their expected compensation is. So it's, if you do it later, you can see that you get the public funds unless you declare a public purpose.
Fair.
Because they, you know, they're signing on now, and you start working based on the package, so.
We need to leave it like it is. I think that we might be faced with $1,000 for teachers extra. That'll be out of fund balance. We don't have a choice in that.
Yeah, our fund balance though is still very healthy, even if you pull out $230,000 from it. And
Yeah,
it's-
but each time we talk about something that's taken out of fund balance.
No, I understand.
We're taking quite a bit out of funds out already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Tony, we do not have a chance to increase this later. It still look like a gift.
Yeah, so the time to do it now, they can check the districts. That's it. Now, you want to go into closed session and make things a little bit like something again.
So what's your recommendation?
Keeping it at the 250 mark.
It's
Just
good
because
money,
of-
man.
Well, yes, thank you. But, you know, y'all just approved the additional fund balance, we just passed a couple last month. And so then if we do that $1,000 incentive increase, I mean, we're going to maintain that year after year. And I mean, I would recommend the 250 as of right now.
Yeah, the 1,000 increase, so year after year, it'll get taxed next year. I'm saying this is the only year that's gonna hit us in the fund balance, but next year, when we balance our budget, then we'll look at the tax rate to make that, right? So,
Well,
so that's not gonna be a continued deal.
If we go above the dollar for yes, sir.
I mean, I'm all for giving our teachers more because they work hard and they do deserve it. But I'm also, you know, if the administration here is recommending that we keep it at what it needs to be, I move to make the motion that since many of the employees of the Vernia is 2017, and remain continuously employed in the district through December 15, 2017, the amount of no more than $250 to each full-time employee, no more than $125 to each part-time employee. I further move that this one-time retention stipend be expressly contingent upon any subject to a determination by the superintendent that there are sufficient funds available at the time to make the payments in the amount stated above, or in some lesser amount, depending upon the financial circumstances of the district at the time the retention stipends are to be paid. Finally, I also move that any employee start work subsequent to September 15, 2017 shall not be eligible for the payment, and that the superintendent be directed to issue a memorandum to all employees informing them of the contingent retention stipend as stated above.
Second.
I second it.
Okay, if I want to consider the higher value to 300 and 150, I can amend the motion, and we vote off that and say, right? Okay. Do I do that during
Yes,
discussion?
you can do it now.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to amend the motion and make the values 300 and 150 respectively.
Is that a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
You vote on the amendment. If the amendment definitely changes the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, which one do we,
Vote on the amendment, vote on the changes.
all those in favor of the amendment of changing it to 300 for full-time and 150 for part-time? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So it's 5-2. Motion carries.
The amendment carries, correct?
Yes.
Can we still discuss?
Yes.
I still like the line, upon any subject to a determination by the superintendent that there are sufficient funds available at this time to make the payments. It's in there for the 250 that was originally prepared for us, but I think it's still applicable for the 300. So it needs to, I mean, obviously you're gonna have to consider it if Abbott's $1,000 per teacher comes in. Obviously, that's gonna be a determining factor, so just keep that in mind come December.
So what you're saying is if Abbott does that, then we'll lower back down to 250, that's not how it's going.
An amount of no more than 250.
So now it's a no more than 300. So he has the
Still
discretion to do 275, 280. And I think what you started to report is it's not that the 300 can't afford it. Make sure you afford it.
Yes.
I think it's what that's the case.
If you look at it, it's only $21,000.
Difference?
Yeah. So it's, I mean, 20,000 is still more money, but it's, if the rent to keep it, it's not.
Dr. Moreno, since you've been here, has it been less than the 250? You don't know it's been, okay. Obviously, it's still budgeted, so.
And have been at this for a long time, the $250?
I know since the 90s.
Oh, wow. So it's in there.
The change regulation.
Yeah. And just so everyone's aware, eyes wide open, I mean, I think the employees sort of count on this once we approve the motion. It's always been that amount, so if it came in less than that, there might be some political capital expense.
I know our employees are very appreciative, because it falls at a good time for them, so they are very appreciative of that.
Next, consider to take possible action on the yearly approval of CDA local and CDA legal district investment policy. Dr. Moreno?
Trustees, again, I ask to consider take possible action on the yearly approval of CDA local and CDA legal, and Mr. Vidales will be up to present.
Yes, good evening, board members. So each year, the board of trustees shall review its investment policy and strategies annually. That's what we're doing today. District funds are invested as directed by the board and generally accepted accounting procedures. The investment officer, to myself and Dr. Moreno, we have to do training with enrollment after we take office. So we have to go to training, and basically get certified as an investment officer for the district. And then every other year after that, you need to go to 1-day refresher course. And so Region 20 has those courses, another TASB, TASBO, and they'll put out throughout the year to go. And so I am certified as an investment officer for the district. Some of the investment instruments that we use here at the district, we do have money market mutual funds as well as bonds, but there's other ones that we certainly could use. There's a list there, example of your obligations, guaranteed by government entities as permitted by the government code, CDs, which are certificate of deposits, fully collateralized repurchase agreements, and so right now we're currently investing in money market mutual funds as well as bonds. And we currently hold those with Wells Fargo investment securities. The district currently invests in money market mutual funds, I just said that. The primary goal of the investment program is to ensure safety principle, maintain liquidity, and to maximize financial returns with current market conditions in accordance with this policy. And so the district investment portfolio shall have sufficient liquidity to meet the anticipated cash flows of the district. And so the investment portfolio shall be diversified in terms of investment instruments, maturity scheduling, and financial institutions. So as I mentioned earlier before, we do invest with the Wells Fargo investment securities as well as Lone Star. So we do diversify our funds, all of our state payments that we get from the state, as well as our any federal monies that we get, it goes right to Lone Star investments. And so we do, obviously we have our CDA local policy as well as a CDA legal policy that we follow. So every year the board basically just needs to review this, and I'll recommend this time that we don't make any amendments or make any changes to the policy.
What is our current diversification between money market mutual and bonds?
So right now, we have most of our money allocated in bonds right now. And so I know the one that we have now, it'll mature at the end of December, and I'll go back out and invest that on that same day. But most of our funds are sitting in a 12-month bond. Money market.
Most, so 90%, 80%?
Maybe like 80%. And I know we've had a couple of accounts there, like I said, at Wells Fargo that we haven't used in quite some time. They've just been there and just keep reinvesting. So earning that small amount of interest that we get from those. But it does help, but it's not a lot. Most of our day-to-day funding that we deal with is at Lone Star, because that's where our state payment is deposited.
Does Wells Fargo provide an investor or advisor to meet with us?
Yes.
How often does that happen?
They do. So right now they made a switch. So they closed the Austin office a couple of years ago, and then they actually closed the Houston office. So now everything's being routed to the Dallas office. And so I do have my contact person that I pretty much talk to maybe every other week. She'll email me, I'll call her. So we have that close relationship with her. If we ever need anything, she's there to tell me, hey, this is coming up. You know what, you want to reinvest this commercial paper, we're paying X amount of basis points. So, and of course, every week she'll send me like a sheet that has, hey, you know, buy this, and so I need to make it right on.
That's actually good to hear, because I think the policy says monthly you have to look at that stuff, right? So
Yes.
you're saying like every week, so
Yes.
twice a month or so.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
At least twice a month. And I know the policy, I believe, states that it's every quarter that we come back with the investment report, but we do it every month, so we don't do it every quarter, we just do it monthly, which I think is a good thing. So every month, every report, the report packet, it has the actual, balances as what we started with, where we ended, and of course, if there's any decreases or increases.
And Dr. Reno, are you good with keeping it as is?
Yes.
I move we approve the CDA local legal investment policy as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion made by Mr. Barnett, second by Mr. Beatty, to approve the CDA, local and CDA legal district investment policy. Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next Next, consider to take possible action on revising policy DNA local DNA regulation regarding T-tests. Dr. Moreno?
Trustees, again, Ms. Burns will come up for the presentation as we ask a consider possible action on revising the policy DNA local and DNA regulations regarding T-tests.
Okay, just to give you, for those of you who weren't here to hear all the T-test presentations last year, just to give you a little background, we moved it to the new Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System. Last year was our first year. Prior to that, we were using PDOS, which was not quite as extensive and thorough of an evaluation process, so we do like the new teacher evaluation system. But just to give you a little bit of background, the components of the T-test process include a goal-setting conference at the beginning of the year, a pre-conference with each teacher prior to their observation, and then a full observation, a full lesson cycle. After that, within 10 days, a post-conference, and then at the end of the year, an end-of-the-year conference followed up within 10 days by the end-of-the-year summary report. So they added quite a few more steps than what we were doing with PDOS. It's a more thorough and reflective process, which we do like. In discussions with principals at the end of this year, after our first year of implementation, some thoughts that they shared was they felt that the amount of time that they spent going through all of those pieces of the evaluation process with every single employee did limit the amount of time they could go just do informal walkthroughs in the classrooms. Because prior to this year, they were expected to do, I think it was almost 12 to 15 walkthroughs a week. And so they were in and out of those classrooms frequently. They also said that teachers shared with them that they liked them being in and out of their classrooms for those informal walkthroughs and getting that feedback, more frequent feedback rather than just one observation, and which was ultimately going to impact their evaluation. So with that being said, we agreed that we would like to move forward with a less than annual evaluation cycle, which means basically if teachers meet the criterion, they can be evaluated every other year. And if you look at the policy, if you look last year, our policy was very short, and that's what was recommended by TASB. But the proposed policy, if you look, so this was, our current policy is the one up front, and then if you look at the second page, our proposed policy, what we added was the less than annual appraisal cycle. But notice that for them to be even eligible for the less than annual appraisal, they must be employed on a term contract, which means any teacher on a probationary contract within their first 3 years of teaching would not be eligible for this. Also, if they're new to the district, they wouldn't be eligible. They also must have SBAC certification, be assigned in his or her certification area, be employed by the district for at least 2 years, have served at the current campus for at least 1 year, and have no areas of improvement needed noted on their previous evaluation or any reprimands issued regarding an instructional issue. So to even be eligible to be on this cycle, they would have to meet these criteria. But also, if you notice, the frequency, it says a teacher supervisor shall have the authority to return a teacher to the traditional appraisal cycle as a result of performance deficiencies documented according to the state code. So at any time, if there's deficiencies noted, they could be returned to the regular cycle. So the policy is what we need board approval for, but we also included the regulations. The regulations is just what shows you exactly how we follow through with that policy. And if you look at the regulations, because ultimately the idea is to get close to 50% of your staff you're evaluating each year. So it's pretty balanced and gives you more time. So there has to be a process for choosing which 50. If you have more than 50% of your staff that meet all of these criteria in the first year, then how are you going to pick which staff you're going to evaluate next year instead of this year? So in the regulations, if you look, the regulations all stay the same except for if you get to page 3 of 4, it talks specifically on how they will go about selecting approximately 50% of their teachers. So they will look at any teachers who were on a growth plan last year. They will definitely be evaluated this year. Anybody on a probationary contract, teacher new to the campus,